David Savage, a.k.a. Diz, and this is The Force Always.
Welcome to the show. Let's get on with the news. Star Wars news. Well, let me tell you right now, there's no real Star Wars news, but I'm here to let you know that I'm going to, later on the show, in the review section of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, the new Marvel TV series on Disney Plus. It's debuted pretty much in Melbourne, Australia time, Friday night. That's pretty much in this vicinity. So I'll give you a review to that later on. That is making the news. It's a new thing to Disney Plus. How is it related to Star Wars? Yet again, it's good versus bad. It's Marvel that's connected to Disney Plus. It has a similar sort of, let's say it's nerd universe sort of thing. Even though I'm not a Marvel fan, it is pretty much the Falcon and the Winter Soldier review by a Star Wars fan. That's me. Humble old me. I'm not the, general Star Wars fan. I'm not the only Star Wars fan. I'm just me, just giving you a review. Anyway, that's going to be later on the show in the review section, but it's now on air, the first episode to the particular series. Anyway, more later on. Speaking of reviews, next week on this show, I'll be giving you Godzilla vs. Kong, or Kong vs. Godzilla. I don't know what the exact title in how it's presented, but the new movie coming to cinemas, and cinemas here are open pretty much back to normal, with some restriction levels there, with the amount of people, things like that. But I'll be giving you a review on that later this week, so stay tuned to this show next week for that review. So Godzilla vs. Kong. Why am I doing this and not Star Wars? Well, it's always good to get an interpretation. Good versus bad again. A blockbuster film, which is sort of like Star Wars. Why not a Star Wars fan review it to see what's going on? Anyway, that's next week on the show. Anyway, so that's pretty much the news. Even though it's not Star Wars news, there's a bit of excitement there with the Disney Plus things that are pushing forward. Soon to come is Star Wars TV series, more TV series. So that's on the agenda. But anyway, let's get into views. Views is my story idea on anything Star Wars. And because we've just had this Falcon and the Winter Soldier TV series debut on Disney Plus, the new Marvel series, what would be a great duo for a TV series that is connected to the present Star Wars? Now, this is, when I say present, I'm talking about this sequel trilogy done by Disney. What would be a good duo? I think a good duo would be Finn, the character Finn, and Poe. That would be a great TV series in the sort of way that they're putting these two sort of superheroes together in a TV series. Even though Star Wars is not known as superheroes, it's more like, I don't know, rebellious heroes or empire heroes or villains. But yeah, so I think Poe Dameron, the character, Finn, the character, together would be a great TV series. That's my sort of idea to a story. That's a story idea on my behalf. Sure, it's been thought of and created by other people, but that's, my story idea for this time around. Let's get into the reviews. Reviews, as I said earlier on the show, is on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I'm going to say it again. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier on Disney Plus. It's the new Marvel series. As a Star Wars fan, I've got to say again, to take in Marvel, it's still great, but it's just not that Star Wars feel that really has me captivated in why I love Star Wars. Not just the good versus bad, but the look of the the sets and the planets and things like this. This is, all entire, that used look, whatever. That's how I love Star Wars. But straight off the bat, this new series gets a 9 out of 10 for the debut episode. It was fantastic. it started off with a look, and there's going to be spoilers here if you haven't seen it. There was a great flying sequence chase, if you were to say, seamless. Some Marvel can get a little bit too far-fetched, but this was almost like how it would be. It really did play out well, and it was long, and it was actually enjoyably long. And the look of the angles in the directing from this episode was amazing. Like, just the look, it was so mature. It was like it really treated the story and the look of the film very seriously. And leading up to, obviously, in this TV series is going to be them coming together in this particular episode. They haven't as yet, but that's the Winter Soldier and the Falcon. And I'm sure their pursuit in Captain America, if he will show himself again, we don't know. It could happen. I'd say it's pretty high chance. But look, I'm not really embedded in the whole story aspect. I mean, I have to learn about the story as I go watching these particular TV series and even movies. But this was just, realism at its best, action at its best. It shot very well. The music tied seamlessly to it. Even the credits at the end, I thought, were just very nice. The whole thing, this is what a Marvel TV series or movie or look should be. Realism and action and heroic points, and and at the end of every story, it should be a to be continued feel, but more anticipation about that to be continued feel. That's where I think, personally, The Mandalorian in the first season lost out a little bit in some of its episodes. Even though each episode was its own, particular story, the to be continued anticipation feel was not always there. And I think that, to me, is an element that a TV series of any sort needs to keep you saying, oh, what's going to happen next week? And this particular series just really came out with a bang. 9 out of 10. It doesn't take me away from Star Wars. I still love Star Wars better than Marvel, but it was definitely convincing me that, oh man, this is a beginning to a great new series. See what goes on from next week. To let you know, it airs in Australia about 7 p.m. on a Friday night. Sounds pretty cool for, compared to the rest of the world, where they get it at midnight and 3 o'clock in the morning. That's, America and stuff like that. Funny enough, it does take away the social aspect to a Friday night. So it's really in a unusual section to the week anywhere, really. I prefer it to be Friday night than being, a Friday midnight or a Saturday morning at 3 a.m. like America has. But yeah, so that's pretty much the Melburnian time, Australian Melbourne time, 7 p.m. ish on a Friday night. Anyway, so that's my review again. 9 out of 10, beautiful start. Let's get into interviews. 2Q, that's 2 questions we'll ask myself for you guys out there. What can Star Wars learn about this episode 1 of this new series by Marvel? Again, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What can they learn? I think the thing that they can learn the most is how they intertwine reality and fantasy seamlessly with a heroic adventure that really captivates an audience and has you wanting more and anticipation for the next. That's where I think, especially the sequel trilogy, especially coming from after The Last Jedi, it really was lost in anticipation. There was, things we could look forward to, but we did not know. And it sets it up to be, interesting in itself when you don't have any anticipation. But I think anticipation needs to happen, and I think Star Wars can learn to use that more. but not always make the end their highlight and the rest just whatever. I think Star Wars sometimes gets into the storytelling in, intro, the body, just whatever, and then just the end is the whole sort of juicy part. It just needs to sort of captivate yourself from the start to the end. Like this particular episode of the Marvel, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, had us, attention really with us with the whole chase sequence in the sky. That was amazing. And then the really nice sort of, let's say, tapestry of conversation and acting amongst characters, even with the psychologist or psychiatrist and the Winter Soldier. I thought that was really interesting. Its look, its color, it's just beautiful. That's what Star Wars can learn. They can learn a lot from this one particular episode in looking towards the future. Now, that's not a complaint about Star Wars. I still love Star Wars for what it is, and I think it comes off really well, but there's just things that it needs to be really creative and inventive and connecting with a lot of things. And this is great. And the other thing that's anyway, the next question, which I should say before I say the other, the next question is, what is one aspect of this particular series and WandaVision that Star Wars needs to learn? That's the second question. The answer is, keep having the story move forward. Now, even though this is technically after the events of Endgame, which was like WandaVision, but it's another, couple of characters pursuing on in that almost that same timeline, I'm guessing that is, and pushing the story forward, not going back or in between. All this it's very systematic. It just seems to be really interesting to see how they do things, like Star Wars does, like Rogue One or even Solo or all these things. But I just think they just need to keep moving the story forward, which is what I mean at this point is after the rise of Skywalker. What point in time they just need to keep moving it forward. I wouldn't say you want to have too much of a skip because it'll be too far-fetched. But that's the one thing that this series has, is the story keeps moving forward. Anyway, that's my 2Q. That's 2 questions for this week. So just remember again, next week I'm going to bring you the review of Godzilla and Kong. It's one of the first real big blockbusters or real big movies besides Wonder Woman that's sort of coming back to the cinemas, rejuvenating hopefully a cinema crowd here and over there wherever you are. And that will be next week, my review for that. So look out for that one from a Star Wars fan like myself. And, I'll bring you the Star Wars news, views, reviews, interviews every week, whatever it is, even if it's nothing, which is pretty much this week. But, what can I say? There is things out there, but just, worthy points. I didn't think that was worthy enough. But anyway, so you can contact me on my Instagram, which is down here. You can contact me via Twitter. Until next week, my friends, keep rocking.